Hey Stash fam, Steve here, and I just got to go hands-on at PAX West with Little Nightmares 3, and wow, this one had me glued to the controller. First things first, a big thank you to Bandai Namco for inviting me to their booth. I also had a chance to check out Pac-Man World 2 RE-PAC, Towa, and the Guardians of the Sacred Tree, and Digimon Story Time Stranger, all of which I'll have videos for soon. For today though, it's all about Little Nightmares 3. This preview is completely spoiler free, and I'll be mixing in Bandai Namco's official B-roll that they just sent me, along with my own live reaction from the show floor. So sit back, dim the lights, and let's step into the spiral together. Better side, I think, to record.
So what you can do for this game, you can record your reaction, not the gameplay, but I can send you gameplay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now before we dive into gameplay, let's talk about who's behind this new nightmare. The first two Little Nightmare titles were developed by Tarsier Studios, but with Embracer now owning them, Bandai Namco moved development of Little Nightmares 3 to Supermassive Games. Now, if that rings a bell, it should. These are the folks behind Until Dawn, The Quarry, and the Dark Pictures Anthology. Basically, they specialize in creating tension and atmosphere, and this isn't their first brush with the franchise. They handled the enhanced edition of Little Nightmares 2 for PS5 and Xbox Series, and even brought it to Google Stadia, rest in peace. So while Tarsier isn't at the helm anymore, this series feels like it's in steady, experienced hands. In fact, as I played, I could feel Supermassive's DNA in how they handle pacing and mood, and it just clicks. So what's the setup this time? You play as Lo and Alone, two kids trying to escape the nowhere by venturing through something called the Spiral. Think of it as a nightmarish quilt stitched together from disturbing, surreal places. In just the demo slice, I saw glimpses of wildly different areas. A sandy necropolis where a monster baby stalks you through ruins. A grotesque candy factory full of buzzing candy weevils. Definitely not the kind of sugar rush you want. And the carnival, a decrepit fair where you're dodging heavy feet along rain-soaked promenades. Each area feels like its own living nightmare with different residents lying in wait. It's storytelling through space, and the further you go into the spiral, the darker and stranger it becomes. For the first time in the franchise, the game includes online co-op, so you can team up with a friend or play solo with an AI companion. The two characters have unique tools. Lo has a bow, which can cut ropes, hit distant switches, or fend off small flying enemies. Alone carries a wrench, which is great for smashing through barriers, stunning foes, or manipulating heavy machinery. The puzzles are designed around these abilities. One moment you're holding a lever steady while your partner climbs, the next you're timing shots to drop obstacles just as your friend slips through. At one point in our session, my AI partner tossed me up to a ledge, and I had to quickly fire an arrow to clear a rope so they could follow, and it all just felt seamless. And for the co-op logistics, saves started in co-op must stay in co-op with the same 2 players. You can't switch a save back to solo, but you do get 8 save slots, so you've got flexibility. Plus, at launch, Bandai Namco is including a Friends Pass on supported platforms, so only one person needs to own the game for both to play together, and I think that's a huge win. And I love that we're seeing developers slowly do this with games like It Takes Two and Split Fiction. Of course, Little Nightmares has always been about stealth, puzzles, and atmosphere, and that hasn't changed. But Little Nightmares 3 introduces combat that feels meaningful. In the first game, combat didn't exist. You were always hiding, always running. In Little Nightmares 2, there were a few moments of limited combat, usually with found objects, but in Little Nightmares, the combat is part of your toolkit. Now, that doesn't mean you're suddenly a powerhouse, right? Swinging the wrench is slow and deliberate, and the bow takes aim and timing. It's risky, and that makes it tense. When I landed a wrench smash at the last second to break a barrier before a resident closed in, my heart was pounding. It's not constant, but when combat shows up, it raises the stakes in the best way possible, and then alternatively, I think you can play through it without using combat, because I played the demo the first time and I didn't use any combat and I was able to get through it. Now let's talk atmosphere, because this is where the game shines, literally and figuratively. Bandai Namco had us play with headsets, which I really appreciated because audio is half the experience in this game. I'm talking the patter of raindrops, thunder cracking, just a little too close, wooden boards groaning under weight you can't see, and these subtle droning tones that make your stomach drop a little bit. And the lighting is absolutely stunning. Lightning strikes illuminate entire environments in a flash, revealing details you missed in the dark. Furnace rooms glow with this deep burnt orange, casting long shadows across wooden floors. Out on the promenade, you got string lights dangled overhead, and their golden glow, making the world feel both alive and unsettling. And here's a tip: when you play this at home, do yourself a favor, turn off your room lights, put on a really good pair of headphones, and just soak in everything that the game has to offer in the audio-visual department. Alright, time for the performance check-in. The build I played was on PS5, running smoothly at 60 FPS. Bandai Namco confirmed that Little Nightmares 3 and the enhanced edition of the original game are both targeting 60 FPS across platforms, including Nintendo Switch 2. On higher-end systems, you'll also see a performance mode that uses dynamic 4K, along with visual upgrades like ray traced reflections and enhanced volumetric lighting. Now, let's clear up a few things, because I know if I don't, the questions are going to show up in the comments, so I want to try and cover this for you guys. There is no free upgrade from Switch 1 to Switch 2. If you own Little Nightmares on Switch 1, you will need to buy it again on Switch 2 if you want that enhanced edition. Free upgrades, however, are available for PlayStation, Xbox, and PC players if you already own the 2017 game. And the enhanced edition is digital only. There's no physical edition plan. So if you're trying to buy it physical and you're waiting, I probably wouldn't wait, because I don't think that's happening. And if you're wondering why the Switch 1 to Switch 2 version isn't getting a free upgrade, Bandai Namco did comment on that on their website in their Q&A, and it is due to technical limitations of the Switch 1 version. Now, launch day is coming up quickly here. It's on October 10th, 2025, and there are quite a few editions to choose from. You have your standard edition, which is just the base game, plus the Dark 6 costumes if you pre-order for $40. You have the Deluxe Edition that adds the Secrets of the Spiral Expansion Pass, which are 2 additional chapters coming post-launch, plus the Residence Costume Pack for $60. You have the Mirror Edition, which is Amazon exclusive, and it has all the deluxe content, plus a figurine, a metal case, stickers, the soundtrack in both digital and physical formats, and a physical art book for $109. And then you have the Spiral Edition, which is a Bandai Namco store exclusive. And you get everything in the Mirror Edition, plus a music box base for the figurine, a gnome controller holder, and a low and alone collector coin for $140. And if you pre-order digitally on PS5, Xbox Series, or PC, you'll get early access to Little Nightmares Enhanced Edition for the original game. And again, sadly, that perk isn't available for Switch players due to technical limitations. Now, let's talk about the most important part, how it felt to play. And honestly, I didn't want to put the controller down, and neither did the rest of the Nintendo crew. We all looked at each other after the demo and were just nodding like, yeah, dude, like that is special. This is going to be an awesome game. The puzzles were clever, often requiring both characters' tools in tandem. There was one moment where I had to time an arrow shot perfectly so Alone could slip through a passage before it closed, and when we pulled it off, it felt very rewarding. The stealth sequences had me holding my breath. Again, I remember sneaking under a table as this massive resident stomped by, and even though I knew I was safe, my heart rate was still going. That's how immersive this game is, and the combat, while sparing, added a new layer. One wrench swing in particular had me grinning because it wasn't just about bashing something, it was about creating an opportunity to move ahead. Combat doesn't break the formula, in my opinion, it enriches it. And the atmosphere, it's unreal. Playing with headphones at PAX was almost surreal. The audio design tricked me into thinking I was inside those warped spaces. And Michaela was recording my reactions, and I caught myself leaning forward like I could somehow get closer to what was happening on screen. And this is just one of those rare demos where I walked away not just impressed, but excited. And I was already excited for Little Nightmares 3 and the Little Nightmares Enhanced Edition, but after playing the game, I walked away even more hyped. And I can see myself replaying sections just to explore different approaches. And with the co-op option, I know I'll be playing it again with friends. I'm sure Michaela will play this with me. So, bottom line, Little Nightmare 3 feels like a true step forward for the franchise, faithful to what came before, but with new ideas that expand the experience. And October couldn't be a more perfect release window. It's spooky season after all, and the game is practically made for it. So that's my hands-on preview of Little Nightmares 3. Let me know in the comments section, which edition are you eyeing? Standard, Deluxe, Mirror, or Spiral? And which platform are you going to get it on? And are you going solo or teaming up for co-op? I'm going to roll extended gameplay footage now so you can soak in the Spiral for yourself. This is brand new footage captured at PAX West that hasn't been shown anywhere else yet. So enjoy. Don't forget to check out my other PAX West videos. I've got more previews dropping all week and into the following week. So hit that like button, subscribe, and as always, remember, you're never too old to play video games.
Bye.